For the longest time, I thought I had a consistency problem. I would start things and stop. I would get excited about a goal, go all in for like a week or two, then just fall off. Like I'd often tell myself that I'm lazy or I'm just not disciplined or I need to be more consistent. And maybe you said some of those same things about yourself too. But recently, I feel like God showed me something. Maybe consistency isn't actually our problem. Maybe the problem is obedience. And I know that's probably not what you expected me to say, but in this video, I want to talk about what God has been teaching me about consistency, obedience, and why I think so many of us stay stuck in this cycle of starting and stopping. Hey, I'm Koya, and over here we talk all things confidence and personal growth so we can become the women we were always meant to be. And if you've ever struggled with consistency, motivation, or following through on the things you know you're supposed to do, then this conversation is for you. To be honest, consistency has been one of my biggest struggles. I have spent years in this cycle of getting inspired, starting something, doing really good for a little while, just to stop only to start all over again a few weeks, months, or even years later. Like I've done this with goals, I've done this with content, I've done this with dreams, I've done this with things I genuinely believe God placed on my heart. And every time I stopped, I would make it mean something about me. I would think, maybe I'm just not disciplined enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe successful people are just naturally more consistent. Or maybe I'm just simply not good enough. But I don't think that was the real issue. I started noticing a lot of the things I struggled to stay consistent with are things I felt God nudging me toward. Things like showing up online and using my voice to encourage other women, sharing my story. And there were many times I wasn't obedient, not because I didn't want to obey God, but because I was scared. I was scared of judgment, scared of failing, scared of what people would think, scared of not being good enough. So instead of being obedient, I would procrastinate. I overthought a lot. I delayed. I started and stopped constantly. And what God had begun showing me is this: when God gives you an assignment, your responsibility isn't to obsess over the outcome. Your responsibility is obedience. I think sometimes we focus so much on consistency that we forget the bigger question: am I being obedient? Because when you truly believe God told you to do something, showing up becomes less about feelings and more about obedience. So you don't post because you feel confident, you post because you being obedient. You don't continue because you motivated, you continue because you being obedient. You don't show up because it's easy, you show up because God asked you to. And honestly, this mindset has changed so much for me because motivation comes and goes, feelings change, life happens, but obedience gives you something deeper to stand on. One thing I've realized is that obedience opens doors. You don't always know what is on the other side of your obedience. Sometimes the life you've been praying for is attached to the thing you're avoiding. Those opportunities you've been praying for, the growth, the confidence, the healing, the relationships, the purpose. What if the breakthrough you've been praying for is connected to your obedience? And what if every time you keep delaying, you're delaying the very thing you've been asking God for? That thought will really change you because you'll realize that you can't keep asking God for things while refusing to move in the direction He's leading you in. Now, I'm trying to approach things a little bit differently. And let me be clear, I'm still in the trenches. I have not mastered this. I'm still learning and unlearning some things, and I'm still choosing obedience daily. But instead of asking myself, do I feel like it today? I try to ask, what would obedience look like today? Sometimes it looks like resting. Sometimes it looks like taking the next small step. Sometimes it actually looks like showing up scared. But I'm learning that obedience is often found in the small daily decisions. And I've realized that focusing on obedience has made consistency feel more natural because now I'm not relying solely on motivation. I'm relying on purpose. And if you want to take this a step deeper, I really want to encourage you to write the vision and make it plain. That's actually something God has really been putting on my heart lately. Because sometimes we know God is calling us to something, but everything feels so overwhelming in our minds that we just end up doing nothing. But when you sit down and actually write the vision out, things become a whole lot more clear. So, what do you believe God is calling you to in this season? Who is He calling you to become? What dreams, goals, or assignments has He placed on your heart? And what would obedience look like in this season? Maybe obedience for you isn't building the entire business right now. Maybe it's applying for the job. Maybe it's starting a healing journey. Maybe it's spending more time with God. Whatever it may be, write it down. Because when the vision is clear, it's easier to stay focused and obedient. So if you've been struggling with consistency, I want to encourage you to stop asking yourself, what's wrong with me? And instead ask, is there something God has been asking me to do that I've been avoiding? Maybe He's been nudging you to start, or maybe He's been nudging you to just trust Him. Whatever it is, though, your obedience is the key. And I wanted to remind you that you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to feel ready. You just have to be willing, because God cannot guide a parked car. He guides people who are willing to move. If this video encouraged you, let me know down in the comments what's one thing God's been nudging you to do. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with another woman who needs this reminder too. And I'll talk to y'all later.